Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Thank you for coming on this bad night. Do you need the mic also? I think it's...
I don't need to test it.
Yeah, I think it's... I mean, if my voice was normal, I wouldn't need a mic. It's a bad night because it's raining. But it's a good night because we're chanting Hare Krishna. In English, when people go to take rest, they say to each other, good night. I don't know about in America, but in England they do. I'm not sure if in America they do, but... Oh, that's nice. In England, where this particular bag of bones was born, they say good night at night.
Particular bone?
This particular bag of bones, this thing here, was born in England. In England they say
good night.
Good night, yeah. But actually for the non-devotees there's no good night. They say good day, good morning, good evening, good night. But without Krishna consciousness it's all bad. So we're having a good night here. In this very important city, Tokyo is a very important city, isn't it? Why is it important? Well, it's one of the financial capitals of the world, capital of one of the most prominent countries in the world, and headquarters of some of the world's most famous companies. That's not why Tokyo is important. Why is Tokyo important? Not because it's the capital of Japan, not because it's a financial center, not because it's the headquarters of so many famous companies. What's the reason? Who can say? Nitai Gaur Sundara here and Prabhupada came here. The whole universe is useless and meaningless without the presence of the Lord and His pure devotees. Achaitanyamidam Vishvam. The whole universe is as if unconscious. Well, Tokyo doesn't seem to be unconscious. Seems to be full of life. Very busy city. Last time I was here, we went out for Harinam Sankirtan at 11 o'clock at night. There's still so many people moving around. Not tonight maybe because of the rain, but normally people are out day and night, busy. But from the transcendental perspective, all the people moving around are like many moving dead bodies. Without Krishna consciousness, whatever consciousness we have is meaningless. So undoubtedly people here are very intelligent, hardworking, conscientious. But it's all useless without Krishna. Japan is a very good symbol of the uselessness of not being Krishna conscious, because everyone is working hard. The economy, despite its recent difficulties of the last few years, is still one of the best in the world. Japan is still a place where people throw things away that in other countries people would be very happy. They'd pay lots of money to get. So it's very technologically developed, economically developed. People are well behaved in general, you can say. There are all facilities for sense enjoyment, both traditional and modern. But still, everyone is completely miserable. No one is happy. So Prabhupada very kindly placed his lotus feet on this earth planet. And on this particular piece of earth, which goes by the name of Japan, because Prabhupada was very eager to give people knowledge of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada was and is fully Krishna conscious. And his only wish was to serve his Guru Maharaj and the previous acharyas by giving everyone knowledge of Krishna. anyone who can appreciate, at least to some extent, the gifts that Srila Prabhupada has given, must be extremely grateful to him. As I was saying, Tokyo is a very important place, and I came here to meet the most important people in Tokyo, which is all of you. Of course, from the materialistic perspective, none of us are very important. But from the spiritual perspective, from Krishna's perspective, the devotees are the only ones who he takes very special care of. So we should be happy with the faith that Krishna is looking after us. We should be happy with the faith that Krishna is looking after us.
Krishna is looking after us.
Krishna is caring for us. So devotees have a completely different perspective to that of non-devotees. Devotees know that everything in this world is temporary. It appears that we are at we're entering what could be a very significant time in the history of this planet. We used to hear a lot, I think it was the senior George Bush used to talk about a new world order. New world order. You wanted to say that in Japanese? There was some dream of some different political outlook. But the present world situation is more and more dominated by the threat of terrorism and the ascension of Islam. Japan is an established economic power, and in India people are very hopeful very confident about the arising of India as a new economic and industrial power. Really? I mean, you should know. So what do devotees have to do with all of this? Actually, we're not very interested in any of it. All these things come and go. Always in human society there's some struggle. One group is trying to become more powerful than another group. So devotees, they don't become too much concerned with all these different political changes. Devotees are connected with the platform of eternity, which means to be connected to Krishna. Krishna's pastimes are going on eternally. That is reality. Within this material world there are always so many ups and downs. If we get too much involved in them, then we're just diverted from the actual purpose of life. So while we're living in this world, we can't be completely negligent of it. Alright?
Yes.
He said it. Yeah, we can't ignore it or neglect it. But at the same time, we should know that our real eternal position is with Krishna in the spiritual world. At the same time, we should know that what happened?
I was thinking, no need to translate, but he need. Okay.
Only one?
Yes.
Two. We need at least two, huh? Alright, that's nice. Then Krishna gets glorified in 2 languages here. On our parikramas in Mayapur, you'll often find the devotees speaking in English, and then there'll be one group translating in Russian and someone translating 4 or 5 different languages going on simultaneously. Or in Bangladesh, where we have preaching programs, village preaching programs, and local people come, so often we have someone, say for instance a devotee from Serbia who only knows Serbian. So they'll have him speak, and someone will translate from Serbian to English, and then another Bengali, and a Serbian devotee will translate from Serbian to English, and then another Bengali devotee will translate from English to Bengali, and the program goes on like that. People are enthusiastic enough and patient enough to sit and listen. Actually, it requires great patience to listen to the message of Krishna. In the modern age, people have no time. They're too passionate, especially in Japan. If you want to distribute some book, the people won't stop to talk about it. They don't want to waste any time, which is a good quality if they were using the time in a actually useful way. The people are always very, very much in a hurry. But previously it was common, at least in India, that people would sit and listen for hours to Krishna Katha. And not in a hurry to rush off somewhere and earn some more money. Let us sit and listen. It's a question of priorities. Why are people in Japan working so hard, so busy? Because they've made their priority that our goal of life is to earn money. The obvious fact that people are not at all satisfied by earning money doesn't seem to strike anybody. But devotees have different priorities. They are very much interested in satisfying Krishna. Krishnate akila cheshta. Devotees do everything for the satisfaction of Krishna. So we can also learn from materialistic people who are so busy. If we can get even a slight amount of the average materialist's discipline and dedication to earning money, if we had that, if we could apply that in Krishna consciousness, then we'd very quickly become pure devotees. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha duravrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasade. Who knows the translation of this verse? Can anyone say? No one?
Always chant my glories with determination.
The Mahatmas, they always chant my glory, Satatam Kirtayanta. And they endeavor in Krishna's service with great determination. They're always bowing down before Krishna. So in this way and in so many other ways, they remain fully absorbed and engaged in Krishna consciousness all the time. So really to be a devotee means to be fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. We are unfortunate we're very fortunate that we've been given this path of Krishna consciousness by Srila Prabhupada. If we can get even a little insight into how important Krishna consciousness is, then we should be very sorry that we're not fully Krishna conscious. We should be very happy that Srila Prabhupada has introduced us to the process of Krishna consciousness. At the same time, we should be very sad that we don't have full taste for the holy name. So, nevertheless, the devotee does not feel hopeless. The devotee has faith that if I try to serve Krishna, Krishna will help me. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam Tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayati. Say translation, please. Someone can give. Anyone can say.
Devotional service. I give him the intelligence with which he can come to me.
Yeah, that's more or less. That's more or less. One who's always engaged in devotional service, always endeavoring with great determination. And then Krishna gives the required intelligence by which that devotee can come to Krishna. So devotees are very hopeful. If we look inside our own hearts, I know in my case, we find so many dirty things. But nevertheless, devotees have the faith that because I'm trying in Krishna consciousness, surely Krishna will help me. And living in Krishna consciousness means to accept Krishna as the Supreme Person. And Queen Kunti Devi describes Krishna, Namasye Purusham Tvadyam Ishwaram Prakrite Param Alaksham Sarvabhutanam Antar Bahiravasitam. She prays him that, my dear Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the supreme controller beyond the influence of material nature. But even though Krishna is so great, so wonderful, so much above us all. He is not noticed by the conditioned souls. Krishna is inside and outside of everything. I was saying that even though Krishna is so wonderful and so great that he's not recognized by the conditioned souls. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead beyond the influence of material nature. But the conditioned souls cannot see. Krishna is within everything. Well, we can say it around the other way too. Everything is within Krishna.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
Well, I was going to say that also.
So, everything is inside and he is inside.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is, according to our imagination or the laws of physics, impossible. If you have one jar and you put a smaller jar inside it, it's not possible to have the bigger jar inside the smaller jar.
At the same time.
At any time. But inconceivably, Krishna is inside of everything and everything is inside of him. As Shira Dakshay Vishnu or Paramatma, the Super Soul, Krishna enters within everything. And as Garbhodakshay Vishnu and Mahavishnu, everything enters within him. So Krishna is in everything. He is everything. Nothing is different from him. At the same time, he is different from everything. He is wholly and totally inconceivable to the conditions of consciousness. But he is so kind, he makes himself available to the devotees. Especially in Kali Yuga, even though we're so disqualified, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made it easy to find Krishna by this simple process of chanting his holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna.
Hare. You cannot stop at one. You cannot stop at one.
Yes, it's a little difficult. And that's good if we can't stop chanting Hare Krishna. So, by this process, we can understand that which is not understandable. You have to say it in Japanese.
We can understand which is not understandable.
Just like this chanting of Hare Krishna. There's no material explanation of why we can go on chanting more and more and more. Any other sound, after some time, we become disturbed by it. Even if there's some music we like very much, but if we play it again and again and again and again, then we become completely fed up of it. But who can explain why devotees go on and on and on chanting the Hare Krishna mantra? Well, you could say brainwashing. You can attempt some material explanation of why devotees go on and on chanting Hare Krishna. But who can explain why devotees go on and on and on chanting the Hare Krishna mantra? Well, you could say brainwashing. You can attempt some material explanation of why devotees go on and on chanting Hare Krishna. But actually there is no material explanation. One may attempt a material explanation. But the real fact is that there is a spiritual explanation. That the chanting of Hare Krishna is simply not a sound of this material world. It may appear that chanting Hare Krishna is just another sound. You can measure the volume, the pitch, the tone, and all these things as you can for any other sound. But the Hare Krishna mantra is not any other sound. The Hare Krishna mantra acts within the heart to cleanse it of all the dirty things. So we can see practically the effect of that. That many persons all over the world, simply by chanting Hare Krishna, their whole character becomes reformed and they become great saintly persons. So, what is my message to all of you? My message is, please go on chanting Hare Krishna and study Prabhupada's books very carefully and distribute these books. There is tremendous process. There is tremendous benefit in this process of chanting Hare Krishna. Tremendous taksan. That's the right word.
Very deep.
Very
Mahatma. So it's like Mahatma.
yes. Mahatma.
Mahatma means very, very great. How about that? There's some Sanskrit words in Japanese also.
Seva.
Seva's there?
Yeah.
Service.
Yeah. Seva is in the same meaning it is used.
What other Japanese words are there?
Sanskrit, there is a Dhanapati is there. They use husband, Dharna.
Dhanapati.
Dhanapati is owner. So,
Danna.
Dhanna. That is it.
We see in every culture there are some traces of Vedic culture.
Name, namai,
Then
Japanese.
karma is also there in Sanskrit. Sanskrit karma is there. Then dharma.
No,
Dharma
that's
is also-
different.
Dharma.
No, dharma is different. Karma is go. Japanese go. Dharma and karma different.
Dharma is a very, Dharma is a very broad
Sanskrit
term.
no.
Not so much to translate for me.
Name of the person.
それはそうなんですけど
So you know Japanese very well, is it?
still I am very, very poor.
Well, you're doing better. Yeah, I mean, you seem to be quite good. So, seems like Krishna sent you here to preach to all the Japanese people. You can ask them all to chant Hare Krishna. I guess you don't need to translate that for him. You could translate it for the others.
みんなハレクリシナを唱えましょう。
Want to translate?
Yeah, already translated.
Already translated. Oh. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, so my message to you is please chant Hare Krishna. And go on with great faith and determination. Don't be discouraged or swayed away from the path. Have great faith in this process of Krishna consciousness. Of course, it's easier for us to have faith when there are many hundreds of devotees. We have big temples, which, as you may have noticed, is not the case here. Krishna consciousness in Japan is largely concentrated around this center here in Tokyo. We also have preaching going on in other places. Is that correct? We have preaching going on in other places. I visited Osaka 2 years ago.
他の町でも
Yes.
やってますから。
Yes, the Osaka.
And the Thai was telling me they're going to far north of Japan for distributing books.
Oh yes, Gita Devi. Gita Govinda.
Yeah, so activities are going on throughout the country. But we should know that even the very hairs on our head do not belong to us. We fully belong to Krishna. So there may not, in this country there isn't a very big manifestation of our movement like there is, for instance, in India. But at the same time, Krishna is still the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Still we have to take advantage of the gifts that Krishna is giving us through Srila Prabhupada. It can be a bit of a struggle to be Krishna conscious, especially when there are no big externals to identify with. So we hope that devotees will take advantage of the spiritual education and opportunities being offered. You all here have as much opportunity to advance in Krishna consciousness as anyone in any other place. It's up to us whether we take Krishna's teachings very seriously or we are only halfway in Krishna consciousness. So let us all take Krishna consciousness very seriously and make Japan an important center for preaching Krishna consciousness from. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Does anyone have any question about this?
One question about faith and determination.
Faith and determination, yeah.
Like we see that as we perform devotional service over the years, we see that when the things are very nice, peaceful and things are okay, it's easy to perform devotional service. But we see either according to our karma or maybe we see that as over the years we perform devotional service, when the times are nice, things are going on peacefully and everything is okay, it's easier to perform devotional service. But sometimes either due to karma or due to some arrangement or due to circumstances, our life becomes very turbulent. Either the health goes bad or we have mental problems or whatever. So at those times, although we know we have been practicing, we have some experiences, but when the turbulent time comes, it's very, very difficult to keep going because we are overwhelmed due to our material or mental consciousness. So sometimes it's when we think that at the time of death we have to remember Krishna, but even in this life when the turbulent time comes, it's difficult to go ahead. So and after the turbulent time goes away, then again we are into normal pace. But I would like to ask that when this turbulent time comes, how to tolerate it and how to go ahead with faith and determination.
Well, it seems like you're not doing too bad. Anyone who's been in Krishna conscious for a few years, and you've been quite a few years, must go through so many tests that will be given by mind. It's not that when we chant Hare Krishna that Krishna arranges some nice seat on the beach and he comes and fends us. It's not like that. So you must be having the answer yourself. It's difficult, no doubt. There are difficult times. But the difficulties actually help to make us strong. Therefore they are Krishna's mercy. A devotee should see everything as Krishna's mercy. Even if things are going very nicely, or even if they're going very badly, apparently. For me, nevertheless, I am Krishna's eternal servant. If we have at all developed any attachment for Krishna, then we can never give up that attachment. Difficult, yes. But the difficulty helps us to come closer to Krishna. I hear the question. Please.
Krishna never refused anyone to join Krishna consciousness. When we came here today, rain started so hard and blood are broken.
Really?
A big flag is jumping in front of us. Then rain more, and we started chanting. There was still more rain. I thought maybe he was refusing us.
Big hailstones also?
Also, it was very hard to come here today.
I saw in Mayapur once, hailstones like a golf ball. It's very dangerous. One person actually died in a hailstone.
My friend is not refused. I mean, he said...
It's difficult, yeah.
Yeah, he said, I mean, you just told us Krishna is testing for like a couple of years to strong.
No, a couple of years.
A year.
And they go on and on.
I thought he refused us. Maybe it's
No,
not
no,
right
no.
time.
He doesn't.
Something.
Krishna va? No.
Krishna doesn't refuse us.
He won't.
The thing is that unless there's some test, how will we know if there's actual bhakti or not? Who would know how great devotees the Pandavas are, Dhruv Maharaj is, Amarish Maharaj is, and on, Hanuman is, on and on and on alongside. Who would know that firmness in devotional service unless it had been tested? Even in the spiritual world, it's not exactly a test, but the devotees, they can't, they may not, it may be that there's some kind of apparent difficulty, but that actually makes everything more sweet. If there's some difficulty to meet Krishna, then we go through so many difficulties and eventually we meet him, we appreciate that even more. And non-devotees can't see this. They see, well, it's just suffering, what's the use of bhakti? But a devotee sees, oh, This is Krishna's test for me. So let me follow what is in Shastra very carefully. Hare Krishna. Please excuse. It's a slow presentation.
Ginger tea.
Oh, that's ginger tea?
Good for too.
Okay. Ginger tea is good for me. We hope.
Yeah, good for throat.
Any other question, comment? I think honey is not good with hot water. You're told that. You have to take it separately. Right?
Right.
Well, just before I drink this, I'd like to say one more thing. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. They have these round the world plane tickets, so I got one. I'm on my way back to India after being in. Wait a minute, I'll try and remember all the countries I've been in. I left India, then I went to Switzerland, then I go to next? Lithuania, formerly part of the Soviet Union, now an independent country. The populations are less than half of that of Tokyo. Then I went to Bosnia. On the way I stopped in Austria. Austria, Bosnia, then Czech Republic,
Czechoslovakia,
back to Switzerland, then to Slovenia and Croatia, then Finland, Russia, England, Ireland, Wales, America, Canada, and Japan. And tomorrow to Thailand, and then on to Bharat, India. So I'm seeing Krishna consciousness going on in so many countries. So it can be a little tiring traveling so much, but it's very blissful to see how Krishna consciousness is going on in various places. We're looking forward to the day when there's a beautiful big temple of Radha Krishna in Tokyo and other cities of Japan. So that should be. You have to preach more and more and more. Krishna has wonderful plans for everywhere. So just a little water for rinsing hand. Oh, I touched it again. Oh, no.
One more time.
One more time. Hare Krishna.
So how many days trip, Maharaj?
I can tell you. It's about 2 months. Let me see. I left Bombay on the 26th. That's just 26th of July. So tomorrow it'll be 2 months. So it's like that.
You mostly spend time for India?
Mostly I'm in India, yeah.
Where in India?
Traveling. On a train. Where in India? Where do I live? On a train. On a plane or a bus or bicycle or something. I made a book, if you like to see, called On Pilgrimage in Holy India.
で、マハラジはこの
In the fifth canto, there is an explanation of universe. They explain the Meru Parvat and this Meru Parvatam. It is not on this earth.
Meru Parvat is, it's much bigger than this earth, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you want information, there's some of our devotees are doing research on that. Because Prabhupada wanted a Vedic planetarium, but it's difficult to understand exactly what to do. So they're doing some research on different Puranas and everything. Because devotees in Bangalore are doing that.